1948. What precipitated the 1948 war? There's this widespread myth that the war is somewhat of a David Goliath 2.0, right? That little old Israel versus the overwhelming number of Arabs. What really happened?
The consensus among all serious historians of the 1948 war, Benny Morris, Ilan Pape, Yoav Gelbar, Shai Haskani, Nur Masalha, and Walid Khalidi, but there's no debate among historians here.
Yeah.
The Zionists had a distinctive military advantage over both the native Palestinian Arabs as well as the Arab armies in Egypt, Syria, and Jordan. But let me back up a little bit. What led to the 1948 war? For 30 years, from 1918 to 1948, the British rejected the political will of the overwhelming majority of the people of Palestine. The British mandate for Palestine, it was anti-democratic. The Americans sent a commission in 1918 to survey the will of the people of Palestine, the King Crane Commission, and 85% of Palestinians told that commission they rejected a Zionist program in Palestine. So that is the underlying cause of the war in 1948. It was 30 years of colonial violence. 30 years in which the British told the Palestinian Arabs, who petitioned them year after year, we want to create a democratic state. We want elections. We want democratic institutions. The Palestinians are petitioning them every year. Democracy is on the side of the Palestinians. Democracy is not on the side of the Zionists in 1918 or in 1934 or in 1947 because they're a minority. And so after about 13 years of that, we get one of the largest anti-colonial revolts in history, which the British violently suppress. The revolt doesn't fundamentally change anything. The British continue to encourage and facilitate Zionist land purchases and Zionist immigration to Palestine against the political will of the vast majority of the population. And by 1947, the British say, we've had enough. We're going to turn over the situation to the UN. And the UN says, we're going to partition Palestine. The problem with the partition plan was the same problem with the British mandate. No one bothered to ask what the Palestinians themselves thought. Did the Palestinians want to partition their own country? Did they survey the people living in Palestine, ask what they wanted? No, they didn't. Palestine was going to be divided into an Arab state and a Jewish state. The Jewish state would be about 55% of Palestine, even though the Jews were about 33% of the population of the country, and even though they only owned about 7% of the land of Palestine. The Arab state would have been 45% of the country, even though the Arabs were 2/3 of the population and owned the vast majority of the land. Now here's the real kicker. The Jewish state would have been about 55% Jews, 45% Palestinians, whereas the Palestinian state was going to be about 99% Palestinian and 1% Jewish. If you're one of those 45% of the Palestinians who was going to wind up inside the Jewish state, we're talking hundreds of thousands of Palestinians. By the way, almost all of whom were expelled. And so this plan, you're basically telling hundreds of thousands of Palestinians in Palestine, you're going to be under the rule of this settler foreign community whose purpose is to create a Jewish state to guarantee Jewish security and Jewish prosperity and Jewish development and Jewish expansion, but you're Palestinian. So the Palestinians rejected that plan, and you got an outbreak of civil war immediately after the plan was announced.